Hello, Durid and Shalom. Hi, guys. How are you doing? Have you liked the stream? Thank you so much. We have another video of Nick Fuentes. Yay! I know it's really fun listening to this guy. All right, so I didn't want to suffer alone. I just saw him coming out with a video reviewing the year. Wait, let me see. Actually, what's the title of this video? We must demand. Oh, okay. We must demand more from the GOP in 2026. Okay. So I thought, let's look at what these Nazis have in, what's their plan for the year to come, because 2025 has been a really good year for American Nazis. It has been a really good year that they have. I don't think they themselves imagined this much victory in 1 year. Like, this is the comeback of the Nazis in America. So, and this is their main leader. So, given that how good 2025 has been for them, I think, and given that, at least on this channel, we're trying to be aware of all the threats against Western democracy, which is communism, wokeism, Islamism, and these fascists. These are the four main threats to Western democracy. It's good that their main leader is telling us what their plan is going to be. Like, how do they see the year to come, so we could get educated on what is the best way to defend against it. So yeah, I'm going to talk less and listen more. Let's watch this together. By the way, I haven't watched this. I'm watching it with you guys. AF stands for America First. Isn't it ironic that this man thinks that he's America First? Like, you couldn't get more America last than this guy, unless you're a commie or you're woke left, or you're an Islamist. Actually, you can actually. But this guy is one of the most anti-American people that I know. This man is somebody that stands for everything that makes America great. And he said, he has an America First cup, an America First hat, and also starts every one of his shows with America First. I mean, if by America you mean like a Catholic theocracy, I guess, sure, why not? But not this America, not the America that I know. Anyways, let's watch this. How's my audio, by the way, you guys? And how's the audio, next audio? Oh, I see all my favorite people are here. I see Musad, Amir, Nilbani, Jewish Samantha, Carl, Comrade Shifty, Amir, second Amir. Yeah, okay, great. Shalom, shalom. All right, good. It's fine. Thank you, Nilbani. Let's listen.
We're going to dive into the show. We're going to get into some of the highlights of 2025. We'll talk about the whole year, talk about me, the generational run. We'll talk about the Trump administration. We'll actually get to a few news stories. There's a couple of things in particular that I want to cover just before we leave. And I guess I want to start by saying, in our year in review show, 2025 probably is the best year that we've ever had at America First. I think by far and away, easily, this has been the biggest year.
By America First, just every time he says that, just remember what you're supposed to hear is America Last. But he's right. 2025 has been the best year for them.
Year for the show, most views, biggest viewership, most viral, biggest clips, biggest collaborations, debates, everything. It was monumental. And now it's coming to a close. Generational run coming to a close. I think we'll leave that behind in 2025. 2026 is a whole new game. But of course, what goes with that in 2025 is everybody is asking, why? How? People are saying, why now? Why was the show so successful? Why are the clips so viral? Why is everybody loving it? And this is something that I've talked about a lot in the past few months. I've been asked about it a lot. And there's been much debate about it in the mainstream media, in the conservative movement. Everybody wants to know, and everybody's wondering, why is the Groyper movement and America First so popular? Why is it so ascendant? Because for a lot of people, it feels like it came out of nowhere. It feels like all of this happened suddenly, overnight.
Good answer. Carl in the chat is saying it's because of rise of anti-Semitism. It's because of October 7th. You're right. October 7th made these people come out of whatever they were hiding.
Everybody was busy doing one thing, and then all of a sudden,
yeah, Neil Bunny is saying not America first, but with isolationist stupidity. Exactly.
Groypers were banging on the door, and it seemed like this was this overnight success. And so people have speculated. They say, well, it has to do with the material conditions in the country. They say it's because the younger generation is frustrated and angry and anxious and depressed because of the economic conditions. They say it is because of politics, because the left wing has bullied young people, specifically the males and the white males. And so this is their frustrated reaction to being attacked for so long. They've become
That's what we say. That's what we say. Apparently, he doesn't agree with that.
Spiteful, resentful, angry. And this is an expression of, this is their reaction against those things. And I've tried to say it as plainly as possible throughout the year. You can point to a few very specific.
Okay, so somebody's saying, stop talking about Nick Fuentes every day. My goodness, we don't actually. The fact that you see the Nick Fuentes ones means that you must be the algorithm has decided that you are obsessed with Nick Fuentes. That's why you get the notification for those ones, because we talk about other things. So that says more about you than about us.
Things. What created the phenomenon this year of this show, America First, the Groypers? You can actually pinpoint a few specific things. And it's not complicated. I don't even think it's contentious. I don't think it's debatable. I think it's very clear and very obvious what happened. And starting with number one, the number one thing which accounted for all this success this year. Why did the show blow up so much this year? The number one thing, which nobody will even mention, and nobody has mentioned,
October 7th,
is that this is the first year that they simply stopped censoring me. That's it. It's that.
Well, the reason why they stopped censoring you is because after October 7th, all the Jew haters in the world came out of wherever they were hiding, and their numbers are so high that it basically acts as like immunity for the rest of you.
That's simple. Because for those that don't know me or don't know a lot about me, you might have heard for many years, I was the most censored, canceled person in the country. And
by the way, this is why censorship, in my opinion, and I know some of you disagree, doesn't work, because it only lasts so long. Eventually, once it stops working, they will come back stronger. The only type of censorship that works is a censorship that is absolute. The only type of censorship that works is a censorship that is absolute with no way to go around it. Because if it's not 100% complete, then they will come back stronger.
Don't say that to make myself a victim. I don't say that to be a martyr. It is just a fact that for years I was completely censored, completely blacklisted, blackballed, and everything that entails. And that went into overdrive in 2021 after January 6th. In 2021, I was banned on everything: Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, DLive, Twitter, TikTok.
Look, they wear these as a badge of honor. This is why also censorship doesn't work, because all of the censorship, they constantly talk about it because you look like a hero. I know this by experience, how people treat you when you're censored. People treat you like a hero when you're the more censored you are, the more people think that you must have something valuable to share.
I was banned on every major social platform, but I was doubly banned because I was also banned from appearing on anybody else's show. So if I went on Sneako's show, or if I went on Fresh and Fit, or if I went on any other show, YouTube would delete that show also. if I went on someone else's TikTok or if I was on someone else's Instagram account, they were also banned. And it was like this for 4 years.
Like being that taboo makes people very interested. Like, oh my God, who is this guy? Not only he's banned, nobody's allowed to talk to him. What does he have to say? This is the best form of advertising.
So go figure. Why did I not gain a lot of traction in 21, 22, 23, 24? Because I literally didn't have a platform. I was banned from everything. The only platform that I could even live stream my show on was the platform that I made myself, because that was the only streaming platform I was allowed on. It was called Cozy TV. I had been banned from YouTube, DLive, Trovo, things you had never even heard of. And what happened this year is there were a few specific decisions that were made. Number one, I was unbanned on Twitter last May. So this is the first full year that I have been allowed on Twitter since 2021. That's one. Two, I was allowed on Rumble. And all of a sudden, I got a check mark on Rumble. I was allowed to stream on Rumble. I just in the past couple of months was allowed to get super chats on Rumble. I was allowed to stream on a major platform. Three, and this is maybe the biggest one, Instagram stopped deleting my clips. And this is something that we noticed. This is like a switch was flipped, I think in like January. All of a sudden, you were able to post my clips on Instagram without being banned. And they were able to get millions of views, hundreds of thousands of views. That was never the case. It used to be the case that if
you know, I still have a problem editing the cover for these videos. So I use like Nano Banana with Gemini to design the cover for videos. And sometimes like it keeps making the covers for me. And then sometimes in the middle of it, they're like, oh, sorry, I cannot do that. And because Nick Fuentes is in the cover. I'm like, but motherfucker, like we've already went through 5 steps and you had no problems in the previous 5 steps having him on the cover. Now that I want to change something about it, all of a sudden you're like, oh, sorry, I cannot do that. Like it goes against my community guidelines. Did you not? It didn't go against your community guidelines in the first 5 steps that I was making the cover. Like it's so bizarre. Every once in a while, Gemini all of a sudden stops improving the cover because he's in the cover.
You posted any clip from my show, your whole channel will get deleted. All of a sudden, starting this year, you're able to post the clip without it getting taken down. And then the last thing that happened, kind of like the last shoe to drop, was around May of this year, I was able to start appearing as a guest on YouTube. This is something else where even in 2024, Candace Owens wouldn't bring me on her show because she was worried that if I was even a guest, that the whole YouTube channel would get deleted. And in May, for the first time, I think I did the Hodge twins, and then I did the Social Hour with Sean. All of a sudden, again, I was on a YouTube show, and the YouTube channel was not banned. The video was not taken down. I don't know if it was even demonetized.
Yeah, these are conscious decisions by YouTube and Instagram. They're like, this is not accidental. I think the reason why Instagram and YouTube, like, why would they turn it off? Like, why would they stop censoring it? Like, those are the people who are behind these decisions they have access to more information than me and you do. It's not like all of a sudden they are agreeing with Nick Fuentes. So why all of a sudden do they actively decide to stop censoring Nick Fuentes? I mean, in my opinion, it must have something to do with, this not working. Like, this just doesn't work.
But I did those 2 shows. They weren't taken down. And that reflected a decision that was made at YouTube that they were no longer going to censor me from being on shows. And so I think that changes the perspective on where I came from this year and what all happened, because a lot of people said, oh, it's things that are happening this year. It's because everybody got really hateful. It's because of this, that, or the other.
Is that?
No, it is because for 10 years, we did not have a level playing field at all.
But these things are related. The reason is that the anti-Jewish hatred is so common now that if social media wants to ban it, they are gonna lose so much activity. Yesterday I learned apparently that yesterday we were in our discussion group, we were looking at statistics, and apparently a quarter of the world is anti-Semitic. A quarter of the entire planet is anti-Semitic. And now that they're being so active with their anti-Semitism online, social media runs on activity, runs on user engagement. So they're like, we cannot ban 25% of the world and lose all that engagement. That's a lot of money. So I think so the reason why you're not being censored is because October 7th just opened the floodgates to all the Jew hatred in the world, just that was already there, to just feeling like they are not gonna be silent anymore. And the volume of that is just so much that social media said that, yeah, we're just going to allow it. We're just going to allow it.
And think about this. Think about it. For 10 years, it was a completely gate-kept, closed system. And by that, I mean the conservative politics, the conservative political media ecosystem. It was an oligopoly. It was a closed system. There were a handful of personalities and companies that were chosen, they were selected, and they were immune from censorship and shadow banning and all of it.
We got a super chat saying, is he a real Christian? Did he ever preach scripture? He is a real Christian, yeah. Not that all Christians are like this, I'm not saying that, but he is a real Christian. And yes, he has talked about, I don't know, preaching scripture, but he has talked about scripture before in his shows.
And it was people like Charlie Kirk at Turning Point. It was Ben Shapiro at Daily Wire. It was Prager University. It's all these familiar people. Everybody else got banned, going back even further, going back to like 2016. People like Gavin McInnes, Alex Jones, they were unpersoned. They were banned from everything. They were gone. They never stood a chance. People like Sam Hyde lost his TV show, then got banned on everything. It was impossible to compete because we could not take, and I include myself in that also, we could not bring our product to the marketplace. If the product is the content or the show, we were not able even to play in the same ballpark. We weren't even able to play in the league.
Yeah, and also we weren't able to respond because we couldn't even show your face. So you were actually gaining a following without other people being able to actually respond to your nonsense, because we weren't like, they weren't even able to. This is why the censorship also doesn't work, because they didn't just censor him. They also censored criticism of him. So he was just growing in the darkness without us being able to, like us and many people against him, being able to show his videos and talk about him.
And so for the same amount of time that these other groups were the #2 ad buyer on Facebook, they were #1 podcast for conservatives on YouTube, they had a deal with TikTok in the 2024 election to get their content amplified and promoted. Whereas they were being promoted and steadily accumulating and growing and building, making a living, building a subscriber base, building an audience. All the rest of us were out there dying, losing momentum, losing subscribers, losing money because we were banned. And it's not a coincidence that this is the first year that everything opened up. And then all of a sudden, guess what becomes popular? Lo and behold, after 10.
Yeah, which shows that there was always a demand for Jew hatred. It was always there. This is a key thing to understand. Nick Fuentes did not create Jew hatred in America. Nick Fuentes exposed how thirsty people are for Jew-hating content. That as soon as somebody is allowed to say anything about it, it all of a sudden gets so many subscribers and so many followers and so much money. Because the demand has always been there. This is not new. It's just showing itself now.
Years of censorship, blacklisting, cancel culture, all of that. Finally, it starts to recede a little bit. Finally, they start to open it up, and all of a sudden, the #1 shows It's like Tucker, Candace, Nick Fuentes. Surprise, surprise. When you stop censoring the conversation, people have an appetite for white identity, criticism of Jews in Israel, criticism of feminism. Guys like Andrew Tate become the most famous people in the world. So that's number one. Where did the generational come from? Well, they stopped suppressing me for a short amount of time. For roughly half of this year, I had no obstacles on that front, and I became...
So Musa is saying I disagree. He made the problem worse. Yeah, I mean, I'm not disagreeing with that, but you don't get this popular this fast because you introduced an idea. Like if it's, I think it's like 90-10. Like if you don't just make this entire movement out of zero by just appearing. Like if he might have made the problem 10% worse, but 90% of it was already there.
Massive. Number two, and this is the other thing that nobody ever talks about. Where did the generational run come from? Number two. Again, a lot of people say, well, he's expressing a popular discontent, but here's where he gets it wrong. Well, he's expressing this popular anger, this, that, or the other. The generational run really got off the ground roughly around May and June. And why is it around May or June that this show started to gain a lot of traction? It was because of a very specific news story. It wasn't a particular collaboration. It wasn't a particular interview.
October 7th?
Up until the middle of this year, I didn't get a major interview. I had some good interviews. I'm not knocking them, but I didn't get really a massive mainstream interview until later into the summer. But I had my biggest show to date at that point in June, having not had any major mainstream collaborations. Nobody put me on. Nobody had me on a massive show. The biggest show that I had to date.
Oh, guys, the anti-Semites have shown up. Somebody's saying Nick is popular because he is right. They always show up, and the Jew haters always show up in around the 30-minute mark.
In the middle of the year was during the Israel-Iran war.
Oh.
My biggest show to date this year was when Israel bombed Iran.
Israel bombed the Islamic Republic in favor of Iran.
And started the war. And
by the way, thank you, Netanyahu, and thank you, Israel, for attacking the Islamic Republic, which is in the best interest of Israelis and the Iranian people. I say that because I know a whole bunch of Jew haters just showed up, and I just want to let them know that on this channel, we are proudly Zionists. I'm Israel Chai, motherfuckers.
Then my biggest show to date after that, which was even bigger, was the night that the United States bombed Iran. Why do you think that is? It's because in 2024, I was well known as being one of the only people that didn't vote for Trump. And I didn't vote for Trump because I predicted he would bring us to war with Iran. And I had been predicting for years that it would play out in exactly that way. Ever since.
What war? What war are you talking about? That was like basically killing bugs the way that Israel was carrying it out. It wasn't even a war.
It's October 7th.
It was what Putin calls, and here it's actually accurate, a special operation.
I had predicted that Trump would be elected because he is the pro-Israel candidate. And he would be elected in part because he would take us to war with Iran in fulfillment of Israel's multi-year, multi-front, regional ambitions to create a greater Israel and neutralize all their enemies. And so when Israel bombed Iran and the United States followed up with airstrikes of its own, people ran to watch the show to see what I had to say about it because I was the only one that predicted it.
It's not about that. He doesn't even know why he's succeeding. It's about the Jew hatred. It's about the Jew hatred. It's not, I mean, I'm Iranian, so I would like to say it's all about Iran. I would be biased to say that, but it wasn't. It's about Jew hatred. That's what it is.
So I didn't launch the generation.
People just love hating the Jews. People really, really, really love hating the Jews. And you're offering that as a service.
No run because I was being a shock jock, because I was trolling, because
somebody in the chat saying Wait, hold on. It's saying cry harder, scumbag. Am I crying? What the fuck?
As I played this shell game where I pretend to be mainstream and I go on Bradley Martin and I act one way and then I go on my show and act like a jerk. The generational run started because I was right, because I was speaking the truth about Jews in Israel, but also their relationship with Trump. And I was the only one who did it. I was the only one that stuck it out and said that, even in 2024, which is pretty late in the game for someone like me. Pretty late in the game, actually, for everybody. Just when everybody thought they had it all figured out about Israel, about Trump and the Republicans versus the Democrats, just when everybody thought they had it all figured out, I threw a big curveball and said, there's something that people are missing, which is that Trump is being allowed to walk through into the halls of power because they know that he will scuttle any diplomacy with Iran. That'll be their opportunity to carry out these strikes.
You fucking retard. Who's allowing it? What are you talking? Is this like a conspiracy theory? Fucking, I thought he's above some of these low IQ conspiracy theories. Who's allowing Trump? Like, is the Jews are allowing Trump? Is that what he's saying? Is that what I'm understanding? He's saying Trump was given the power because he was elected. What do you mean he's allowed? Who allowed him?
Just when everybody thought they had it all figured out about Israel, about Trump and the Republicans versus the Democrats, just when everybody thought they had it all figured out, I threw a big curveball and said, there's something that people are missing, which is that Trump is being allowed to walk through into the halls of power.
What the hell?
Because they know that he will scuttle any diplomacy with Iran.
Who is he talking about? Who's allowing Trump? Trump is the one who needs to allow people to do something. He's not the one who is allowed to do things. He's talking about Israel allowing Trump.
Iran, that'll be their opportunity to carry out these strikes. And that's exactly what happened. And it was thanks to my analysis.
If anybody who thinks that Israel controls America is retarded. Unfortunately, the United States is controlling Israel right now as we speak, and not in a good way. United States is way more powerful than Israel, and their influence over Israel right now is negative. The relationship of who's impacting who is more the other way around.
Which was precise and specific and accurate, which is where the whole thing started. And then once people watched the show, they said, wow.
Somebody's saying, explain AIPAC. AIPAC is one of the smallest lobbies in the United States, and it's an American lobby by American Jews. It's not an Israeli lobby. And it's actually smaller than many other lobbies, including the dentistry lobby, apparently is even bigger than AIPAC. And most other countries have lobbies in the United States, which is astronomically bigger than what AIPAC is, even though AIPAC is not an Israeli lobby. It's a Jewish American lobby. There you go.
Wow. Okay, so this guy isn't just some hateful maniac. He actually knows what he's talking about. We're actually learning information. We're actually getting good analysis. And it's not just a crackpot conspiracy theory. It's based in reality. That's number two.
What's based in reality is that you cannot negotiate with the Islamic Republic or Putin because they are set. It's within their DNA to continue fighting. And when you negotiate with the Islamic Republic or Putin or Hamas, all you're doing them is buying them time to recover from the heavy blows they just received, for example, for Israel. Israel does the damage to Hamas and the Islamic Republic. United States does the buying time for them to recover by appeasement and negotiation. You don't negotiate with terrorists, you annihilate terrorists. That's why you don't negotiate with them. That's the reason. That's the actual reason.
We're actually getting good analysis. And it's not just a crackpot conspiracy theory. It's based in reality. That's number two. Number three, and this is maybe more to the point. This is the biggest thing. Where did the general?
Somebody's saying, yeah, then why don't they register? You fucking retard. If what I'm saying is true, they don't need to register. They're an American lobby. If you're an American lobby, why would they need to register as a foreign lobby? Only foreign lobbies need to register. These are American Jews. You're so you hate Jews so much that you associate anything Jewish, you think it must be Israeli. These are American Jews.
Operational run come from this year. And this is speaking a little bit more to those issues that people talk about. They say, well, it's the housing prices. They say it's the left bullying everybody. It's this, that, or the other. I think, to put it very simply, in the most basic and simple possible terms, people have an appetite for this show because they see that the country is dying. In the simplest version of the idea, and I've been saying it all throughout the year in one way and another, the simplest form of the idea is that people recognize the country is dying. And what exactly does that mean? I think we understand it very deeply when we celebrate Christmas. Because Christmas is something that used to be sacrosanct. And in many ways, we identify Christmas as a quintessential American holiday. Maybe we shouldn't. And maybe that's misguided. And maybe there's even something sacrilegious about that. That's actually a source of criticism and cynicism.
He talks like he defends the Islamic Republic, and he talks like the Islamic Republic. He also talks like the Islamic Republic.
Santa Claus is a creation of Coca-Cola, and people say the holiday is too consumerist. It's too commercial.
Yeah, you're right. Nick is Vatican first. You're right, Musa. He's actually exposing, like they call Jews Israel first. That's a pretty good line, Musa, in the chat. He's Vatican first. He's not America first. He's Vatican first. Perfect. Love it.
And people say maybe we've gotten away from the true meaning of Christmas or the true spirit of it or something like that. But I believe that the sentiment that surrounds Christmas and the traditions that surround it, whatever you may think about them, the shopping and Santa Claus and the tree and the music and all those things, if there's anything that reminds us what it is to be who we are, it is Christmas. That is the most treasured and maybe the most shared memory that we all.
Yeah, I mean, the fact that Christmas, which is not something that is American, is something that is Western. If that is the main thing that shows you who we are, then you're not America first, because this is not an American experience. I mean, I like go to Germany, look at how Germans do Christmas. Look at how the French do Christmas. Yeah, so you're not America first. I mean, if any Jew said that, about a shared culture that was not purely American, but it was about all Jews worldwide, the same Jew haters in the chat were like, oh, look at this. These people are celebrating something that they share as Jews globally instead of just something that is purely American. But yet this motherfucker is saying like, oh, Christmas is what reminds us who we are. Well, Christmas is not American. Christmas is, Western Christian countries all celebrate Christmas. So how does that standard apply to the Jews but not to you then?
Have in common from our childhood. That's maybe the one decent thing, even in the 21st century, that we all still have. Maybe that's the one day in every person's childhood, from coast to coast, wherever you are, whoever you are, where you remember what it feels like to be home. When you're surrounded by family, when you're at the tree, Santa brought the presents, having Christmas or Christmas Eve dinner. And we see the way our country is going, and we realize there won't even be a Christmas in the new America. Forget about the rest of it, which is a little bit all over the place. Maybe not everybody plays baseball anymore, and obviously politics has polarized everybody, and a lot of things about our country have changed. But we're looking down the barrel of a future where in 50 or 100 years, maybe one day the country wakes up and it's just December 25th, and it doesn't mean anything. And maybe people are out working and the shops are open and people are at school. And how?
I don't know, man. In 100 years, I don't know if anybody's going to be working. We're probably all uploaded in the cloud or something.
How many people are even celebrating? Are there public celebrations? You see, for example, in Europe, they had to shut down the Christmas markets. They had to shut down many of the Christmas celebrations because they are being invaded by Muslims and Africans. that not only don't celebrate Christmas, but are hostile. There was a church in Scotland where a statue of the baby Jesus was decapitated.
Thank you. We got a super chat saying, Armin, congrats for the 800 plus people watching. Well, thank you. Thank you for being one of them.
And they defaced the church with the message that said, "You're finished here."
Half of them are haters and are haters, so half of them are Jew haters. So I don't know if that counts.
You're finished here. And they decapitated a statue of the baby Jesus. And it's hard.
By the way, guys, if you're a Jew hater, we have a discussion group. You could come and debate us there. We're going to go there in about 2.5 hours. Come and talk to us and tell us why you hate Jews. So the link is in the chat. The link is also in the description. By the way, the things that Nick Fuentes is concerned about, I don't know if it's going to happen as extreme as he says, but I am also concerned about the things that he's saying is true. But the threat to the things that he's saying doesn't come from Jews. Guys, can you name me the people who are responsible for the things that Nick is worried about happening? He's right. Like, I don't know, Christmas, I mean, the American way of life, Western values in America and Western countries, they are being attacked, but Jews are not attacking them. It's not Jews who are attacking them. Who is it that is attacking them? Oh, Neil Bunny is saying they're all 12, Armin. If they debate, we will figure that out. Okay, yeah, probably. Yeah, exactly. Carl is saying it's Muslims and leftists. Exactly. It's not the Jews. Jews are not going to come for your Christmas. It's Islam and woke leftism that is going to come for your Christmas. So you have identified the threat correctly, but you haven't identified the enemy correctly. It's the 9/11 people. It's the 9/11 people.
Not to feel like.
Oh, I'm sorry. You guys think Jews did 9/11. Sorry. I should be more specific. I forgot. For half a second, I forgot that you're retarded.
Like that isn't true. Or rather, it's hard to feel like that isn't true.
How about this? Instead of saying the Islam and leftism, we could just group them together and just say the pro-Palestine people. Just to make it shorter. We don't have to say Islamist or leftist. We're just combine them together and just say the Palestine people, the pro-Palestine people. They're the problem. It's the Palestine people who are the problem.
When they say you're finished here, it does sort of feel like we're finished here, doesn't it? It feels like we're finished in Germany. It feels like we're finished in France.
We're finished in Germany? He said we and Germany? We and France? It's almost as if he's loyal to other countries. Oh my God, guys, is this not dual loyalty? You care about what happens to Germany? You care about what happens in France? I thought you're all about America. Is it all Western countries? Is this dual loyalty that I'm hearing? Oh no. Is dual loyalty just bad for the Jews? You get to care about France and Germany, but Jews don't get to care about Israel? Double standard.
It feels like we're finished in England, in Italy. It feels like we're finished in America. We see where the arrow is pointing. We see that Zoran Mon.
Wait, hold on. We got a super chat saying, please do not look up dancing Israelis. No, please look it up, because then you'll see how retarded these Jew haters are and what they consider as evidence. I have looked up dancing Israelis, and I realized that you guys are dumber than I thought. That your standard for what you believe is lower than what I thought. So yeah, no, please look it up. Look it up. Okay. Please do look it up.
Donnie is the socialist mayor of New York. Vivek Ramaswamy is going to be the governor of Ohio. Usha Vance is going to be the first lady. In Texas, it's a tug of war between Indians taking over the rich new construction subdivisions in Frisco, and the Muslims building their new subdivision in Dallas, where they're going to have a super mosque in the center of it.
But you said in your other shows, I remember, that Muslims are not the problem. It's the Jews that are the problem. So maybe remember what you said on your own shows.
And see,
oh, wait a minute. I know what they would answer. Some of these idiots in the chat, they will say, well, it's the Jews that are allowing in the Muslims. Sure, buddy. Sure.
Seattle is filled with Indians, and San Francisco is filled with Chinese, and Los Angeles is filled with Mexicans and Venezuelans. And it feels like we're finished. We're done. The country of the last 100 years is going to apparently die before the conclusion of this century, before the conclusion of this 100 years. And I'll tell you the nature of this. It has to do with our identity. It has to do with our religion, and it has to do with our race.
Yeah, that's not your identity. Your identity is American, should be American. I thought you're America first. And America, the American identity has nothing to do with race. The American identity has to do with certain Western values, Western Enlightenment values.
What it is to be American is to be European and to be Christian.
No.
That is what it is actually to be an American. And the day that America ceases to be mostly or meaningfully European and Christian, it's no longer going to feel like America. When
America became a superpower because it went hunting for the best of all people anywhere they are. The problem with mass migration is that you switch from finding the best people from wherever they are to all of a sudden just opening the door to whoever. That is the problem. But America became a great country because it brain drained the rest of the world and stole their best by providing them the best opportunities. That's how America became a great country.
the country is divided up between minorities, blacks, African immigrants, Asians, Indians, Chinese, Hispanics, Muslims. Is it going to meaningfully feel like America, or even any country at all for that matter? Will it feel like a country at all? When you're riding on the public transit, when you're at the office, when you're at school, when you're watching these movies, with all the diversity, will it even feel like we have a country at all? Forget about whether it is America. Will it even be a coherent whole? It feels like the answer.
That threat is serious only because you're allowing the wrong people. You're allowing in the wrong people, but it's not like you shouldn't be allowing anyone in. Let me actually bring somebody that represents America more than you ever could. Let's have him speak, because you're so full of shit. Let me bring you.
Go to live in.
Let me actually bring you. Hold on, give me a second. Let me show you a proper American with proper American values to speak for America. Okay, look at this. I hope. Yeah.
You can go to live in France, but you cannot become a Frenchman. You can go to live in Germany or Turkey or Japan, but you cannot become a German, a Turk, or Japanese. But anyone from any corner of the earth can come to live in America and become an American.
Because America is a set of values. That's what America is. A set of superior values. Hold on. Yabs just become a member. Well, thank you so much, Yabs, for being a member. I appreciate that. And then also we got Game Guy just gave us a super chat saying fear of Catholicism is one of the reasons the 13s left the British. Oh yeah, okay. Before 1789, Catholics could vote in only 2 states in the Union. Nick wants to enact the same discrimination that was against his people. Okay, I don't know about any of that. Interesting if true. All right. Well, thank you.
There's no. And it feels like we're finished. We're done. And if
Yabs is saying Reagan was more American than Nicholas Fuentes. Yeah, the gay Mexican. Okay. All right, well, thank you. Not that gay, being gay is an insult.
the country is its people, and it is, The United States of America doesn't exist outside of the Americans, outside of the actual flesh and blood people like George Washington or Henry Ford or Charles Lindbergh or Thomas Jefferson or Abraham Lincoln or Frank Sinatra. The country is the flesh and blood people. If those
flesh and blood. Imagine you trying to explain to us what America is, and you think you know more about what America is than Reagan. Imagine that. This fucking kid is lecturing us about America, and he thinks it's the blood. He thinks it's the blood that makes America America. It's not. It's the superiority of American culture. It's the superiority of American values. And the threat that you're facing right now, the reason why you might not be celebrating Christmas, maybe, I don't know, in 50 years or not, is not because you're allowing in the wrong blood. It's because you're allowing in the wrong ideas, people with shit ideas. You're allowing in people with shit ideas. You're allowing in people with inferior culture, not the inferior skin color, not the inferior genes, but inferior culture.
Charles Lindbergh or Thomas Jefferson or Abraham Lincoln or Frank Sinatra. The country is the flesh and blood people. If those people and their way of life, specifically, their mannerisms, their customs, their holidays, their beliefs, their culture, their value, even the way they look,
Culture, value, not
the way they act. If those people are going away, if they're going extinct, then the country is going extinct too. And of course, people will still live here. The landmass isn't going anywhere. The government isn't going anywhere. There'll still be human habitation here, but it won't actually be the same place.
In fact, if you are worried about inferior culture and inferior ideas coming into your society and poisoning your society, the least people you need to worry about is the Jews. I mean, just go look at their record. Everywhere Jews went, they contributed to science, to technology, to arts, to academia, to literature, to finance, to commerce, to trade, to everything. Well, maybe not to sports, but almost everything. Sorry, not sports, but almost everything else. They were a major contributor. So, yeah, you need to filter. If you want to filter for shit ideas, then Jews have the best ideas. They're the smartest people, and they are major contributors, and they are loyal to the countries that they're citizens of.
Live here. The landmass isn't going anywhere. The government isn't going anywhere. There'll still be human habitation here, but it won't actually be the same place.
Yeah, and also exactly, Neil Bunny. And the people that contribute the least are Muslims.
The landmass isn't going in.
I mean, contribute the least is actually worse than that. The contribution is negative. It's negative. It's not even low. It's negative.
People are going away. If they're going extinct, then the country is going extinct too. And of course, people will still live here. The landmass isn't going anywhere. The government isn't going anywhere. There'll still be human habitation here, but it won't actually be the same place. And you see that everywhere you go, everywhere you look, in every way. You see it when you're driving in traffic. You see it when you go to work, when you send your kids to school. It just isn't the same country anymore. And there's something incredibly dispiriting and sad and depressing about that.
Somebody's saying if you come to America, your loyalty should be to America, not to the country you live. That's only a condition for Jews. That is only a condition for Jews. People do not have that condition for anyone else. If you're a Japanese American, nobody says that you should not be loyal to Japan and only to America. People expect you to be, it's reasonable for people to assume that you're going to be loyal to Japan and America. If you're, I don't know, Scottish American, you could be loyal to Scotland and nobody would give a shit. Nobody would give a shit. Everybody would accept that. Everybody would accept that. If you're Korean American and you love Korea and you love America, everybody would accept that. It's only with Jews that all of a sudden, if they love both Israel and America, oh, now it's an issue.
And people say, why am I popular? It's because it feels like I'm one of the only people that's fighting back against this. I'm one of the only people that has freed myself from the mental shackles, because that's all it is. We are accused of being racist, white supremacists, neo-Nazis, anti-Semites, Christian nationalists, white nationalists, whatever. People like the show because they like when an unapologetic white American stands up for the country.
But yeah, that would be nice if an unapologetic white American refuses to be shamed for being white. Like, that's good. And if they stand up for America, the problem is that you don't stand for America. You stand for something else. You stand for a Christian theocracy. That is not America. I mean, you're basically the same as the Muslims. You're the same as the Muslims. They are trying to make America into something that America is not. You're the same as the communists. You're trying to turn America into something America is not. You don't, at least they don't pretend to love America. You pretend to love America, but you stand for everything that goes against what America stands for. Muslims want to make America into an Islamic caliphate, part of an Islamic caliphate. Communists, they want to bring their communist utopia to America. You want a Catholic theocracy for America. That is not America. So you're not, yeah, if you were a white American that was defending America and you proudly came and said that I'm not ashamed to be white, and fuck you if you want to shame me for being white, I would be clapping for you. I would be like, good job, man. Don't let them be racist against you for being white. Don't apologize for being white. But you're not doing that. You're not standing for America. You're standing against America.
And says, no, we're not going to die. At the minimum, I'm not going.
Somebody in the chat saying, you're not American. Oh, you don't say. Yeah, I'm not American. I didn't say I'm American.
To die. I'm not going out without a fight. And if one man can get up and say, I'm not going to go down without a fight, then maybe a whole country can get up and say that we're not going down without a fight. Maybe that's the strength of the message. And that is really the future conflict. This is what I predict for 2026. They're going to try to gaslight us into thinking that all of our concerns are bound up in the economics. That, oh, it's just the young people, and the young people are mad because housing and home ownership is out of reach. We need to make it more affordable.
It is it is economics. It's mostly economics. Most of our problems could be it's somehow attributed to economics. And if it's not, it's because we still haven't figured out a way to value things. But everything at the end of the day comes down to economics.
Honestly, is that really the problem?
Yeah. Yeah, people want to be able to afford to have a better living. People want to be able to have a stable lifestyle. That people want to be able to afford where they live, afford, especially men want to be able to afford giving a good life to their wives and their children. They want to feel secure. They want to know that they can pay for their expenses if they're sick. Yeah, that is the main issue. That is, the economy is the main issue.
Riddle me this. Let's say this Trump government goes in and they build a bunch of low-cost housing for all these Indians and Muslims and Hispanics and Chinese and everybody else.
That would be a bad idea.
You go and you live in Texas and you're in a subdivision that's 90% Indian. You go to a university, it's 80% Chinese. You go to your job site, if you could even get employed, it's 50% white, 50% non-white. Are you going to feel much better that your housing got a little bit less expensive?
No, you fucking idiot. The issue is that people with shit ideas and an inferior culture, when they bring their shitty ideas to your country, the cost associated with that has an economic cost that can be measured. And even if it can't be measured, it's there. Everything that has a cost to your society, it's an economic cost because it will damage your country's prosperity. shit values have an economic cost to your country. If your lifestyle, if you have a lower lifestyle, if your prosperity in every way, even if you feel more like shit, if you are feeling shittier, if you feel less hope, if you're feeling if you're not very optimistic about your future, all of these lower feelings, all of basically attribute to cause a lower level of well-being, which has an economic cost associated with it. So we're not against inferior culture just because we're saying we're against inferior culture. Inferior culture has an impact on our way of life, which can economically be measured. So you might just be saying like, oh, I just don't want to see Indian people. I just don't want to see Muslims. I just don't want to see Venezuelans. I don't want to see Arabs. But for us, it's not about that. For us, it's not about going outside and opening the door and just not seeing an Indian or not seeing a Muslim. For us, it's the economic impact of people with shit ideas coming in and changing the DNA of your country, because bad ideas makes your country less prosperous. A bad culture makes your country less prosperous. That is the eventual. Even if we are talking about politics, good politics makes your country more prosperous. Bad politics makes your country less prosperous. At the end of the day, it's all about well-being. And well-being, as of right now, is measured by economics. So it's all about economics. I know this is hard for so many people to understand, but that's how it is.
Are you going to feel better that they bought some cheap piece of shit? They built some new construction for you. And if you're lucky, your wife and kids, so that you can go and watch Disney Plus and watch the new Avengers, and half of them are women and the other half are not white.
No, okay. So if you bring people with shit values and we have cheaper labor and some of my goods are now cheaper, yes, that's a positive to me. But now they're going to have other impacts. These people are eventually going to be naturalized and vote. And their voting is going to make my country less free. And my country being less free means that it's going to slow down our progress. And that slowdown in progress has much higher economic cost than the benefit I got from having cheaper goods. You see how it all comes down to economics?
Are you going to feel a whole lot better about your life? I don't think so. The next step is they are going to try to gaslight us into thinking that this has everything to do with things other than what I'm describing. This is about economics. This is about the political left. It
is about economics. It's not about your fifis. It's not about, I want to open my door and just see white people. It's not about that. It's not about, I want to open my door and just only see this shade of skin color. It's not about that. It is about economics. People care about their economics. People want to be able to afford shit.
It's about everything other than what it's really about. For example, I saw Tucker Carlson interview Matt Walsh, and they're talking about the great replacement, that non-white people are replacing white people everywhere where we used to reside. And Tucker said, I'm not even saying it's a bad thing, but they're telling us that this is happening and they're denying that it's real. He says, I'm not even saying it's a bad thing. He repeatedly and consistently says identity politics is evil. And the great replacement has nothing to do with racial demographics. It has to do with voting rights.
That's
here's
true,
a statistic for you. Since 2012.
Can he actually explain why he's so obsessed with skin colors rather than ideas? Can he explain that? I mean, if you tell me, well, these people with these skin colors have these ideas and those people with those skin colors have those ideas. Well, if you're trying to make that point, then it's still about the ideas and not about the skin color. Because guys, I don't know if you've heard this before, but correlation is not causation. Hold on, let me see. We got a super chat saying he makes good points and valid concerns, but he spends all of it against Israel, Jews. FYI, USA is what it is because use white Christians. No need to be upset about that. USA is what it is. I think that's what you meant to say. USA is what it is because of Enlightenment values. because of the Age of Enlightenment. It was because of the Age of Enlightenment. It's because of the modern Republican tradition. It's because of the Industrial Revolution. We have white countries that didn't go through that, and they're behind America. And we have Christian countries that that didn't went through that, and they're behind America. We have many Christian countries that are not, that are some of the poorest countries in the world, because they didn't go through the Age of Enlightenment, because they didn't go through the Industrial Revolution. So it's not Christianity. We have many white countries in the world who didn't go through the Age of Enlightenment, who didn't go through the Industrial Revolution, who are some of the poorest countries in the world. So it cannot be because they're white. Only the countries who had the values that came from the Age of Enlightenment, only those countries became this prosperous. So yeah.
50% of this country's newborns have been white and 50% have been non-white. So in the census, it will tell you that the country is 57% white, 63% or
I mean, but I don't deny that the people who are responsible for the Age of Enlightenment happen to be white. I don't deny that. Okay. But it wasn't all white people, but it was some white people. So those white people deserve credit.
43% non-white. But if you look at the newborns, if you look at where the arrow is pointing, for the last 13 years, the newborns have been 50-50. For the younger generations, it is 50-50. For Gen Z, for Gen Alpha, this is our country. And when we are the old people, when the boomers and then the Gen Xers die off, and it's millennials, Zoomers, Gen Alpha, Gen Beta, it's going to be even less white than that. The older generations will be 50-50. The younger generations will be even less. And every successive generation, less white after that. And that is what every...
Yeah, this obsession with skin color is not going to solve the problem. Again, guys, when I say don't obsess with skin color, I'm not suggesting that you should deny that it was white people who were responsible for a lot of this, for all of this progress. It was white people, okay? But it just happened to be white people. And yeah, we should be grateful to those white people. I'm not denying that. I'm not denying that. Okay, but those white people succeeded because of their superior ideas, not because of a superior skin color. Do you not agree with this? The white people who did this, like, I'm not one of those like leftist people who deny that they were white. Obviously they were white, but these white people had a superior set of values, not a superior skin color. Do you guys agree with that?
City, every town, whether it's a small town or a medium-sized city or the biggest cities, that's what every single polity in the country will look like. And there's not going to be a Christmas in America when that happens. There's not going to be a 4th of July. There's not going to be those traditions and customs, manner of life that we used to have. It won't be like it was in A Christmas Story. It won't be like it was in Elf.
Oh my God.
It won't be
like he has nostalgia over what his childhood looked like. And he wants to keep everything like aesthetically the same way as his childhood. And he thinks that's the concern of people. I happen to think the main concern of people is whether they're going to be able to afford giving a good life to their children, or if they could be able to afford the hospital bills of their parents or their wife. That's what I think people care about. I think if it's between like, hey, are you going to be able to go experience your childhood memories the same way that it was before? If you had to choose between that or being richer, having a more comfortable life that might not look like your childhood, but it is comfortable and you're rich and you could afford shit and your life is secure and you have job security, I think that second one is what most people want. And I think Nick doesn't understand that. Nick doesn't understand where the pain is. And again, this is why we're against mass migration, because mass migration threatens that.
The kind of city it was like in Home Alone. It's going to be a completely different place.
Oh my God.
And will that be America? And will that matter? I think it matters a great deal to everybody. I think it matters a great deal to anybody that cares about America. And what they're going to try to do for the...
I think what matters is security and affordability and purchasing power. It's security and purchasing power. I think that's what matters, whatever America looks like.
Purpose of domestic stability is to gaslight all of us into thinking that that's not really happening, or that if it is, that that's not really a problem.
Wait, we got a super chat saying, to be fair, hold on. Oh, wait, undo. I pinned a message by mistake. All right. To be fair, everyone white European, we would have. Oh, to be fair, if everyone white, I think there's a verb missing here. If everyone was white European, we would have less identity wars. I'm pretty sure we would find another difference in appearances. That's a valid point. Oh, he's saying, I mean, white Europeans have been waging war against each other for almost their entire history. I mean, the French and the British were fighting each other forever. That's a valid point. And he is saying white, but his point is one group that is the same as close to the founders. No, he's not saying that. He's saying white. He's not saying that. He's talking about skin color specifically. And he's misidentifying. But if he's talking about close to the founders, his ideas doesn't represent the ideas of founders of America. Just go look at their wording. He is everything he's obsessed about is basically the opposite of what the founders of America stood for.
And that the only reason that anybody would have an issue with multiracialism, the only reason that anybody would have...
by the way, guys, even though I don't think it's about a superior skin color, it is important to mention the people who are responsible for these values were white, not because it matters inherently, but because our enemies are trying to deny it and they're trying to shame white people. So it's a reaction. So reminding everybody about the fact that the people with the right ideas that made not just America, but the whole world better, reminding people that they were white is a response. It's not by itself important, but it is important in response to people who are trying to deny this history and who are trying to make white people be ashamed of being white. It's only a response to those people that we remind them that they were white, and we're grateful to them.
Happening, or that if it is, that that's not really a problem. And that the only reason that anybody would have an issue with multiracialism, the only reason that anybody would have a problem with these changing demographics is because there's something wrong with you. If you have some sort of psychological or emotional disorder, if you were raised wrong, if you have hatred in your heart, if you're some sort of twisted malcontent, like me, they say. Why is this person so angry? Why are these people so spiteful? Well, what went wrong along the way? It's because they couldn't get laid. It's because they were angry. It's because of their childhood. It's because they deserve coal in their stockings, because they're a terrible person. And I think it's all the more reason in 2026 we have to double down. And we have to say, this isn't spite. This isn't, strictly speaking, an emotion like anger. We are not malcontents.
It is. I've read the comment. I've read your comment section, Nick. I'm pretty sure you have too. It is. I mean, this is why you hate your own audience.
We are not freaks. We're not people that are not well adjusted. I think everybody from every age group, from every demographic cohort, men and women, married men, single men, married women, single women, young and old, I think everybody is realizing we want to fight for our civilization. We want to have a civilization. Christendom and Europe and the civilization of our ancestors is actually worth fighting for. And not only is there nothing wrong with that, that's actually the only normal position.
It is, but you're not doing that. You're fighting for a different civilization. You're not fighting for the same civilization that the West is. that made America such a great country. You're not fighting for that. You're fighting for something else.
That is the normal, healthy, righteous disposition. You should want to fight for the civilization of your ancestors. That is the inheritance of our posterity. It is normal for us to want to fight to preserve those things. It is not abnormal. Maybe it takes an abnormal person to be the moral entrepreneur. Maybe it takes an abnormal person to be the first to recognize it. Maybe it takes an abnormal, antisocial person possessed by a vision and an idea to be the first person to strike out and say what everybody is thinking, but which no one is willing to say out loud. You got me.
I mean, he doesn't have any arguments for any of these points. He's just trying to sound charismatic and cool and powerful, but there is no actually arguments for any of the points that he's making. I mean, to be fair to him, he diagnoses the problem sometimes very well, but his solutions are shit. And there's nobody that challenges him. Like every time he's a debate, nobody challenges him properly to demonstrate why his solution is what fixes these things.
There, maybe that's the case. But certainly, it is the most normal thing in the world to want to protect and defend our home. And that's ultimately what it is about. It's not about hating the Indians that are coming here. It's not about hating Islam or Muslims. It's not about hating Jews.
I mean, you should hate Islam. You should be hating Islam. Islam is shit. And by the way, the idea of not hating Jews is what makes this type of Jew hatred the most dangerous, because it sells itself as something that is not very hateful.
It's not about hating anybody. It is about loving our home, loving where we came from, loving your hometown.
If you love your home, you would allow more Jews in, because Jews contributed so much to America. Jews saved America in multiple wars. Multiple wars that America actually won in, it was because of the scientific contribution of the Jews. In fact, America profited from anti-Jewish hatred, because people ran away from the places where they were hunting down Jews, and they came to America, and they brought America so much science and technology that it made America be able to defeat its enemies. If you want to tell me that I'm lying, at least try to spell it properly. Hold on, let me see. We got 2 super chats. Oh no, that one I already read one. He is saying, okay, we got 2. One group that is the same. Okay, let me see. So we got 2 super chats saying Anglosphere needs a crash course on a non-racist, non-genetic based nationalism. I'm doing that. I created the first course, and you could come in our discussion group. Go to the courses section. You can see I am creating a series on Western politics, and I put the first lecture up. So I put the link in the description. Once you come into our group, go to the courses section. You can see I already put the first one up. The cat lady saying Nick is so gay. Well, if he was gay, that would be the only thing that is not a problem. Well, thank you.
Your childhood, your mother and father.
Actually, Nick being gay is an insult to Nick, because that would make him a hypocrite.
Your grandparents. It is about revering them, having enough respect and love for your parents, for your mother and father, not to destroy the civilization of them and their ancestors. And that is the most normal thing in the world. As a matter of fact, it's so normal that every other race understands that. Every other group is fighting like hell for their people. Indians marry other Indians. They have Indian children with Indian names. They visit India. That is exactly what Usha Vance and Vivek Ramaswamy do.
Actually, the Indian example makes my point, because Indians and Pakistanis are almost the same group of ethnicities. And the fact that Indians marry Indians and they don't marry Pakistanis is more of a Hindu-Muslim thing than anything else. So it's not based on ethnicity, it's based on values. So that's a value thing, not an ethnicity thing. Muslims also, for Muslims, that's also not an ethnicity thing, it's a value thing. So what are you talking about? I mean, people with shitty values like Muslims, they are marrying each other. So yeah, people with superior values, I agree, people with superior values should be marrying each other. Superior values, not superior ethnicities.
That is what Chinese people do. That is what Jews do. Jews marry other Jews. They have Jewish children, and they spend time in Israel because they love their own people. They love their ancestors. They love their home, their traditions, their religion.
Yeah, Jews, by the way, are some of the most secular people in the world. And even the secular people love the Jewish religion as a tradition and as a cultural identity. I mean, I don't deny the religious Jews as well. But if you're looking at Jews, these are on average some of the most secular people in the world.
That's normal. That is what every people in the world is entitled to. I'm just...
Yeah, you're entitled to it. Who's taking that away from you? Like, are they forcing you, like, you must marry somebody? Who is making you marry a non-white person? What are you even crying about? Yeah, you can marry whoever the fuck you want. Who's stopping you?
The freak or the crazy person that will stick out and say, white people deserve that too.
Yeah, you deserve to marry a white person. Who's stopping you? Who's stopping you from marrying a white person? Guys, is there a law in America making white people marry non-white people? What is he even complaining about? Gigi saying, I can't disagree with America being majority European and Christian. Yeah, it is because, well, yeah, strong religious Zionists agree. Yeah, I can't disagree with America. Well, America is that's a descriptive thing, not a normative one. Strong religious Zionists agree. Yeah, I mean, if you're talking about Zionism gave birth to a country with 20% Arab who get equal rights as citizens. So Zionism, that's what Zionism is today. 20% non-Jews that get equal rights to Jews. That's what Israel is.
White people and Christians deserve the same thing that every other race is entitled to. And that is a civilization, that is a home, that is a nation, that is a neighborhood that they can call their own. That is a neighborhood that stands the test of time, that they could go back in their old age and visit, and it hasn't been radically transformed by mass migration. So people like to say, well, the generational run came because all these people that are angry about their economic prospects are pissed off and bored, and they're looking for somebody to blame. No, the generational run happened because I'm right. Because I am right. I am right about these things.
So you're not right. How? Like, you're actually retarded. You think people don't care? People are angry not because of affordability, but because their home doesn't look like the movie Elf. Like, it doesn't look what you think that people have is because of nostalgia and not because of economic instability and affordability and security. You think it's just about aesthetics? No, you're not right. You're retarded.
The things that are killing our country are mass migration, feminism, and our Jewish oligarchy. Our country is not dying. Our country is being murdered. Our country is being murdered by...
Your country is still the most powerful country in the world by a huge margin with any other country, and the gap is getting wider. So
these three things. Without them, we would thrive. If we did not have massive amounts of migration being dumped into our country, it wouldn't actually matter that the fertility rate is going down, because in a generation, the country might be smaller, it would still look the same. If we didn't have feminism constantly...
It's all about how it looks. to him. It's about like it's all about skin color and looks and aesthetics. Like, oh, I want everything to look the same rather than people's lives improving, rather than becoming more prosperous. It's all about looks. And again, if you're worried about mass migration, then stop blaming the Jews. Look at Islamic countries. Look at North African countries. Look at migration from South America. In fact, you can't get mass migration from Israel because there are not that many Jews around the world anyways. If you're concerned about mass migration, which you should be, in my opinion, the last people you need to be worried about are Israelis and Jews.
Attacking male sexuality, constantly attacking masculinity, deferring childbirth and child rearing until the third decade of a person's life, maybe white people be having children. And if it wasn't for our Jewish
people from more prosperous countries will always have less children, except Israel for some reason. But this is just a fact, and there's nothing you could do to undo that. With migration, without migration, when a country becomes richer and when women become more free, these two cause women to have less children. This is a deterministic factor, and there's absolutely nothing you could do about it. No amount of preaching, no amount of Christian values or conservative values. This is just a economically deterministic reality that it will happen. Once your country gets richer and once women get freer, there will be less babies, except Israel. Hold on. We got a super chat saying Zionists want Israel to remain majority Jewish and more religion. Anti-Zionist left would allow Sharia takeover, destroy Jewish safe space homeland. That doesn't negate my point. First of all, more religious or more Jewish identity, because the word Jew refers to in fact, when I was in Israel, Zionists respected Judaism as a religion, as a culture, as a history, but they didn't want it. At least the Israelis I talked to, who were very aggressively Zionistic, they didn't want the religion in their politics. In fact, the founders of Zionism were non-religious. Zionism was founded by non-religious Jews. So you might be wrong about that. The word Jew refers to three different things. The word Jew refers to ethnicity, a culture, and a religion. And these are not the same thing. And they're connected, but they're not the same thing. So, yes, Israel should continue to have a Jewish identity and a Jewish culture and the Jewish religion and free for religious Jewish people to always come and have a safe place to exercise their religion. But it's not, if by Jewish, if you say you want more religion where? In the government? I don't think so. I think Israel is a powerful country because it's more secular than its neighbors. And secular doesn't mean that you should throw away your Jewish culture. So I think you're wrong about that. The founders of Zionism were non-religious, but the cultural identity of Israel could always be Jewish. And yes, Israel should always remain majority Jewish. That doesn't negate the fact that Zionism gave equal rights to non-Jews in Israel. It doesn't negate that fact. That's still true. 20%, 1 in 5 Israelis are non-Jewish, and they have equal rights to the Jewish population. That's Zionism.
Oligarchy, which spends all our resources fighting Israel's wars in the Middle East, Jewish oligarchy that actually hates white people, that says white people have anti-Semitism in their DNA. Well, what is that supposed to mean? They want us all dead. They want our genetics to die. It's no coincidence that they're in charge.
Who wants your genetics to die? Who wants your genetics to die? This is not about genetics. What the fuck are you talking about?
Anti-Semitism in their DNA. Well, what is that supposed to mean? They want us all dead. They want our genetics to die. It's no coincidence.
No, they want your values to die. You know what? At least I know the Muslims don't want your genetics to die. I know they want your values to die. They don't want your genetics to die. And I know this for a fact because Muslims are obsessed on average with white women. So I think Muslims would, if there's ever, if we ever get to a world where there's no white people on the planet, I think Muslims would be the most upset people on the planet because they have a white female fetish, and I'm pretty sure they would do everything in their power to preserve that. So they want white women to become Muslim. So they want to destroy your ideas. They don't want to destroy your genetics.
That they're in charge in every one of these Western countries, every Western country that's committing suicide. These are the three things killing the country. These are the three things which are why we're not going to have an America at the end of the century. And those,
in fact, if there ever is a Muslim takeover of the world, I'm almost sure that they would have underground breeding of white people just to make sure that they have as many white women accessible to them as much as they will have. They would turn it into an industry. They would, if Muslims ever take over the entire world, they will bring back slavery, and the most expensive slaves will be white, and they will be breeding white people like farm animals. So that's what they would be doing. That's what Muslims would do if they ever take over the world.
These are the three things killing the country. These are the three things which are why we're not going to have an America at the end of the century. And those are the three things I'm right about. That's why they throw every one of those labels at me. Racist, sexist, anti-Semite. No, we're just tired of mass migration, feminism, and Jewish power. I'm not a racist. I just don't want to die by mass migration. I'm not a sexist. I just don't want my race to die because of feminism, which is decadence. I'm not an anti-Semite. I don't hate anybody. I just want Christians and Europeans to be in charge of the country, not Jews that clearly hate us and want us all to die because they believe we have anti-Semitism in our bones and Rome destroyed the Second Temple. And I'm right about all those things.
I mean, you are anti-Semitic. I mean, what the hell? Like, if you're not, then who is? You think the enemy of the whole planet is the Jews, is Jewry, is the global Jewry. That's what you say. Like, how is that not anti-Semitic?
So anyway,
you're the king of anti-Semitic.
That is my my year in review about the generational run. And the reason I lay that out explicitly and specifically at the end is because we have been gearing up for.
Imagine the person who keeps talking about people's skin color, saying I'm not racist.
This fight for 10 years.
This is why the left fucked us with this over accusation of racism. It doesn't mean anything. Like, it's not worth calling anybody racist anymore because it doesn't mean anything. We warned everybody about this, didn't we? Like, when the fucking left came out and like, you're racist, you're like, you motherfuckers. There's going to be a day where racism is going to come back with a vengeance, and nobody's going to take us seriously because they have made, like, calling people racist is now, like, oh, well, everybody's racist. Like, now we can't even identify them because you just called everybody a racist. Like, our prediction came true. Look, it's right in front of us.
I always said that America first is inevitable because I knew that eventually the truth would get out. Eventually, white people were going to get tired of the Jewish oligarchy. They're going to get tired of the black crime. They're going to get tired of the mass migration. I always knew that America first would inevitably become mainstream, would inevitably become dominant. Here's the question now.
Still can't get over somebody so anti-American thinking that he's America first.
As always, they're going to fight back in a way that is subversive and convoluted and which is not actually obvious. How are they going to fight back? Well, they're not going to directly fight me because they know how that would go. If Ben Shapiro sat with me in a debate, Even to have the debate would be to finish the debate. To have a Jewish person that only cares about Israel sit down and have to defend like why we're going to war in the Middle East over nuclear weapons, to even have that debate would be to finish it once and for all. They don't want to create that dialectic. The day that you pose the question, should it be America first or Israel first? That's the day that every single person affirms America first. They're not going to have me sit down and debate Vivek Ramaswamy. The day that you put it up for debate, are we going to have a nation of flesh and blood people or a nation of ideas? That's the day that everybody affirms we want a nation of men, a nation of people, flesh and blood people that fought wars to defend the ideas that you claim is the sum of what we are. They are not going to create that dialectic. They're going to do something much more subtle and much more subversive and much more calculated and complex, which is they're going to try to skin suit this movement. It's like an alien invasion. One way the aliens could win is they could come down in spaceships with tentacles and all the rest, and they could declare war on humanity. But what happens when the aliens land in a flying saucer with the tentacles and 100 eyes? What happens when they declare war on humanity? They bind all of humanity together against the aliens. So the sophisticated aliens will do something more sophisticated. They do the invasion of the body snatchers. They look like people. They act like people. They're not people.
Guys, apparently you're not people. My Jewish friends in the chat.
And whether it's invasion of the body snatchers,
by the way, YouTube, I'm not saying that. He's saying that.
or they live, whatever, pick your poison. They look just close enough to people that they could slowly but surely capture the decision-making institutions, taste-making institutions, and then they influence the masses to become complacent in their slavery.
Wow.
This is always the track that the political class will take. They did it with the Tea Party movement. They did it with MAGA. Eventually, they stopped fighting Trump and they acquiesced, or they appeared to acquiesce, and they filled up Trump's White House. They filled up Mar-a-Lago. They filled up the cabinet. And they put on the MAGA hat and they started swearing like Trump and they started talking like Trump. And then they slowly but surely brought us back to establishment conservatism. Hence why this year, what did we get? Corporate tax cuts, bombing Iran, no mass I
mean, the bombing Iran, as he calls it, got you stopped. I mean, it wasn't even anything. It was surgical. It stopped the war. Unfortunately, it stopped the war. Why are you guys crying about it? Like, didn't all of you predict that that's going to bring World War III and none of that happened? Oh, thank you. Gigi saying Cyrus the Great was great. Yes, and Cyrus the Great is, or Kurush the Great, which is his proper name, is what something that brings unity between Israelis and Iranians. Because both Persians and Jews respect Cyrus the Great a lot. So it's actually, Cyrus the Great is a symbol of unity between Iranians and Israelis.
Deportations. We're actually protecting the illegals who work on farms. They're going to protect Jeffrey Epstein and all his clients. It's because they did a subversive strategy. And they're doing the same thing with America First. And if you pay close attention, this was the whole Tucker Carlson MO. He brought me on the show, wrapped his arms around me and said, hey, look, I'm going to listen to this kid who's got all these problems. And ever since we did the interview, he goes on every other show and says, I tried to talk him in off the ledge and get him to stop being an anti-Semite. He hates women because he's afraid of women. I tried to get him to stop hating Jews, but I failed. I know the white replacement is happening, but I'm not saying it's a bad thing. White identity is the only thing that can ruin America.
What? He said that?
He went around telling people.
By the way, a lot of these neo-Nazis feel betrayed by Tucker Carlson because of these things. And Nick Fuentes here is their boy now. He's the only boy. I mean, Candace Owens is a woman and she's black, so she never had the chance. So among the three of them, Tucker Carlson is too coward. He wouldn't actually directly attack the Jews. Candace Owens is low IQ anti-Semitism, apparently, and she's black and she's a woman. So that leaves Nick. This is a big market. The anti-Jew hatred market is a big market, and Nick is grabbing a big part of it because there's not much competition with him. Nobody can compete with Nick. Tucker Carlson and Candace Owens don't have a chance. This is why he's such a big deal, because there's almost no one like him.
That the whole purpose of the interview was to get me to talk. So
Guys, like we looked at the stats yesterday, 25% of the planet hates Jews. 25% of the entire planet. There's a lot of demand and not much supply. So imagine the economic opportunity here for people if there's this much demand for this type of content.
made myself look bad. He could give me a platform, earn the credibility from my audience, and then pitch something that looks the same, but is ever so subtly different, which goes something like this. Jews are not the problem. It is neocons, and especially evangelical Christians. Non-white immigration isn't the problem.
Guys, please, everybody keeps saying $7,000. I received $7,000. Please do not insult me. At least put 14,000. Okay, I know my worth.
It is just mass migration in general, and we should have a colorblind meritocracy. The women aren't the problem. It's all of these culture and gender wars. It's all this other stuff that's happening.
By the way, can you imagine Nick Fuentes has a lot of female fans? Isn't that bizarre? Like, he hates women, and women still, there are many women that are his fans. He talks like this against black people, and he has black people who are his fans. He talks about this about Muslims, and he has a lot of Muslim fans. He has a lot of Muslim fans. I mean, Jew hatred is so strong that people who are being called out by him are willing to look past that because he's just anti-Jewish.
A subtle little difference. And this is what they're going to play on repeat in 2026. They're going to try to destroy my credibility and say, oh, well, I'm a freak. I'm a hater. I'm actually a horrible human being. I'm actually an anti-Semite. It's these other people that are pushing something constructive. Fuentes wants to burn it all down. These guys want to build everything up. Fuentes is a real racist. These guys have their criticisms about black crime, but they want a colorblind meritocracy. This is going to be the conceit going forward. This is how they will defang and neutralize the Groypers. They're going to offer a moderate option. It is going to look and sound like me, but on the fundamentals, it's going to be completely different. They will not affirm the reality and centrality of race. They will not talk about our Jewish mafia that is running the fucking planet. They're not going to talk.
How? Where? What the fuck? I want to see evidence for this shit? Like, where do they get this from? If the Jewish mafia is controlling the planet, how could they not even finish their own war? How is it that they had to, how the war that was the most important war for their own survival was cut short like early because of Trump asking them to return their pilots? How are they this powerful and then still have to get Trump's green light if they want to basically fight for their own survival? It's fucking retarded. Like, look at this. These people have the highest amount of followers and fans, and they don't even understand the basics of politics in the modern world.
From the reality and centrality of race, they will not talk about our Jewish mafia that is running the fucking planet. They're not going to talk about feminism in and of itself being the problem.
Oh, somebody's saying they did finish it in Gaza. Oh, they did finish it. Gaza is the wasteland. First of all, I was talking about Iran. Second of all, Gaza is lucky that Israel cannot do what it should do, because what happened to Gaza is not even remotely close to what Israel should have done to Gaza. It's too much international pressure.
They'll say it's affluent white female liberals, but they'll never say it's feminism in itself, which is actually the root of all evil. And they will pitch something, like I said, they might say, like Tucker did, retard and faggot, and they might make some gesture towards 13 do 50 and some of this humor. They'll do some insinuation about conspiracy theories or Jews, but they will all.
Yeah, exactly. Somebody's saying we've been too gentle in Gaza, way too gentle in Gaza. After what happened in October 7th, Israel has been way too gentle, has been way too concerned for Gazan people.
Always bring it back home to, what about those good Jews? But race isn't actually meaningful. The speech about blood guilt, etc., that is going to be the playbook. And so I don't know if they'll kill me in 2026. I don't know what they're cooking up for me, what they have in store for me.
Oh my God.
But in 2026, that is the year where they're going to try to strike at the head, the sheep scatter, and they're going to try to corral them back into slavery incorporated with some kind of Groyper veneer. That's going to be the playbook. You can take that to the bank. They're already playing it. They've already been playing it.
If anything happens to Nick, his whole entire movement is going to blame Jews for it, for sure. Let me see. We got a super chat saying, Armin, funny joke for you. How many do you think in the chat are aware of the word mullah? Oh, actually, I don't know. Wait, did I use the wrong word for the title? Do these people even know what that is? I don't know, actually. I mean, given that, let me actually look at the poll. 51% of the people here have a positive view on Nick Fuentes. I had a poll on the top of the live chat saying, do you have a positive or negative view of Nick Fuentes? 51% has said positive, 49% negative. It's almost 50-50. So given that 51% of the people here were retarded, I don't think they know I don't think they know any of this.
And that was the 1-2 punch of Tucker and Piers Morgan. Bring me onto the show, making of a murderer. Let's get a glimpse into the twisted mind of Nick Fuentes and show everybody how evil he is and how anyone could follow him. Then bring him on Piers Morgan to reveal the real Nick Fuentes that loves Hitler and this, that, and the other. That's the MO. I would add one final thing, and then we'll move on. Here's the biggest play.
Okay, let's do the biggest play, and then after he gives us the biggest play, let's just go have our own talk in our discussion group. By the way, guys, our discussion group is free. Yeah, and the link is in the description, and I also put the link in the chat. If you disagree or agree with us, come over there, and we have live calls. We have open live calls for everyone once every 2 days, and we have closed live calls as well. But come over there and tell us why we're wrong, why we're right. Oh, we got a super chat from Yab saying they have a following, but they're all plants. Okay, look at the chat. There's one Forrest Gump typing the word Jew for an hour. Okay, yes. That's why I call them. That's why I don't understand why people tell me not to use the word retard. They are actually retarded.
In the end, where all of this is.
All right, guys. He's going to make his final, most important point about what the end is going to be like. But again, one more time, the link to our discussion group is in the chat and in the description. Coming to our discussion group, we talk about these topics and so many other topics. And we welcome people with opposing ideas to come and make your point, okay? I don't think a lot of the Jew haters here have the balls to come and talk to us because you don't actually know how to defend your points. You could just copy and paste in the chat. But if in case one of you does have the balls to come there and talk to us, you're free to show up. So with that, let's see what his final most important point is, let's see.
Mo, I would add one final thing and then we'll move on. Here's the biggest play. In the end, where all of this is headed is J.D. Vance for president in 2028. That is the lead, which they have buried. As quickly as they got J.D. Vance in the vice presidency nomination last year, they want to get him in the Oval Office in 2028. They want to make him the president. Why? Who knows? But there are powerful, powerful forces in Silicon Valley, billionaires, the GOP, all the king's men.
The Jews, don't forget the Jews.
That want to make J.D. Vance the president.
Oh,
and I have identified myself very early on as an opponent of J.D. Vance. And for that, they want to bury me. For that, they want to kill me.
Oh my God.
Because I'm telling a lot of young men that Vance is going to need in the...
If anybody kills this man, it's not going to be because of Jews or powerful people. It's probably going to be a mentally ill person, probably from one of these leftist lunatics, okay? I think that's what they don't like, but I'm pretty sure all the fucking grippers are going to be like, the Jews, it was the Jews.
Election, I'm telling a lot of...
Imagine how many Candace Owens episodes we have to deal with. Trying to blame the Jews and the French again. The French will somehow be involved. Candace Owens is going to have many, many episodes about that.
Young men do not trust this guy because this guy is a creep. We don't know who he is. We don't know what his real...
Hey, somebody is saying Armin, the Iranian Jew. Guys, I am officially been recognized as a Jew. Can I have my Israeli citizenship? Thank you very much.
Name is. We don't know what his real job is. We don't know who he owes, who blackmailed him, who he works for. We just don't know anything about this guy. And it's weird. It's weird. He's weird. His family's weird. It's weird that they're all promoting him.
Weird.
Something is not right here. And that much is obvious. Everybody with eyes.
Oh, somebody's calling us. Somebody's saying most chances it's going to be his gay lover. Probably, maybe that might be a thing. Yeah, sure. Thank you for the
can see that something is off about that. And that's the biggest thing. And I believe it when I say this, that if I were going out on the show every night and saying, let's all be good team players and let's all vote for J.D. Vance in 28, they would tolerate me.
Sure.
Trust me when I tell you that if I were going out every day on the show and saying, let's all be good little Republicans and let's dutifully vote for J.D. Vance, you know they would tolerate me. They would tolerate my antics. They would tolerate my extremism. They would tolerate all of it.
All right, this is a stupid conspiracy theory. I'm done with them. Somebody saying, are you Muslim? Well, I'm not retarded if that's what you're asking. So no. All right, guys. So let's go to our discussion group, okay? Let me put the link to the chat link to the group in the chat in one more time. So come over there. Don't forget to like and subscribe and hit the bell notifications and all of that. Do whatever you could do to support this channel, okay? And most importantly, forget all of that. Just come to our discussion group. Let's talk. Let's talk. I've been told that I shouldn't be asking people to do 10 different things, like liking and subscribing and hitting the bell notification and leaving a comment. I've been told that in the show, I should be focusing on asking people just one thing, which is the most important thing that I want to ask people, which is come join our discussion group and have conversations with us there. We welcome disagreements. Unless you get butthurt and cry and run away, then that's your fault. But until you do that, we tolerate you unless you stop people from talking. If you interrupt people and don't let other people speak, then we might not tolerate you. But however shitty your ideas are, you could come and talk to us there, okay? So link is in the description as well. We're going to be having a live call in about 10 minutes. And again, once every 2 days, we have is open call and the other ones are, so if you see a green emoji, it's open to everyone. If you see a fire emoji, it's for our premium members, okay? So just go to the calendar section and see if it's an open call or if it's a premium call. All right. Anyways, I'm gonna head out. I'm Israel Chai, Javid Shah. See you guys in the next stream. Oh, that's the reminder that I need to go for the discussion group. So I'll see you guys later. All right. Bye.